The Joe Rogan Experience.
Wasn't the Colosseum, wasn't it completely underground at one point? They discovered it?
No. The Sphinx was underground. But the head was above it, and then they cleared out the sand.
God.
The Colosseum
You
was...
came off stupid as shit there.
No,
I don't think it was underground. No. The Colosseum has always been there, but they did used to be able to get water in it. They used to have water fights. They have boat fights in there.
It was crazy.
Bro, imagine
really cool shit.
Watching people get eaten by lions in front of everybody. Imagine what that was like.
Well, back then, you understand, they didn't they would have these games, and they would bring in they would have hunts, and they would have animal fights and shit like that. But it's back then, to see a giraffe, it looked like an alien. They had no idea what they would bring in animals from Africa, like rhinoceros.
Yeah, these people didn't have YouTube. They weren't traveling.
They had no idea. It was it literally you're watching aliens fight.
Have you been in the Colosseum?
Yeah, it was incredible.
Do you see those things where they lift them up through the floor and then the lions will pop out?
They had underground. They have a whole pulley system where they have elevators, and they would have slaves pulling people up, and it was a whole show. It was a really cool thing.
I appreciate you saying slaves lower.
If they had that right now, we would watch it.
Yeah.
If there's something on YouTube, I've already seen. Have you seen the night fights where guys dress up in armor and beat the fuck out of each other?
Yeah. Harrington does he does the commentary for it. He's like the Joe Rogan of night fighting.
That's so ridiculous, dude.
Yeah, shit.
They hit each other with battle axes and shit.
A scepter strike to the leg.
But it's they look tough, and then they take their helmets off, and they're just fucking virgins. It's just these really nerdy fat dudes.
Preemptive balding
Some of
people.
them know how to fight, though. I've seen ones where guys take guys down, leg kick them.
They're MMA guys that are getting into it. It's just another outlet.
Another outlet.
Part of the floor of the Colosseum was buried until the mid-19th century.
Oh, you were right. There you go.
I knew. Yeah.
One floor.
I don't want to correct you.
Hypogean floor lay buried under 40 feet of earth. All memory of its function, even existence. What is that? The floor that lifts up? Is that what that is?
Yeah, the floor. There was stuff sticking out of it, and then they went and they uncovered that there was an entire underground system, all this shit. It was actually really
did
recent.
Someone cover it up? Did you go back to that description, Jamie? Because I think it explained that someone covered it up.
Well, I mean, they destroyed most of Rome, so I'm sure it was part of it.
I wonder why they did that.
They were using all this shit for
the tour that I did of the Colosseum was boring as shit.
Mussolini fixed it. The guy wasn't all bad.
What were you saying, Jamie? What'd you say?
They were using the pieces of the city for construction or whatever else they were building, new stuff. Same with the pyramids.
People shit on Mussolini.
God,
I'm pulling that
horrible.
right. They go, Mussolini, what a monster. I go, clean the floor of the Colosseum.
They did that with the pyramids. They stole the fucking stones from the outside of it.
Yeah,
people are so gross.
Yeah, it was crazy. Well, remember the Trevi Fountain a few years ago in Rome? They poured black ink in it or something, just protesters. It was and they literally had to drain the fountain, and it took however many months to clean it. It was fucked up.
The Colosseum architects made changes to allow new methods of stagecraft. Other changes were accidental. Fire sparked by lightning in 217 AD gutted the stadium, sent huge blocks of travertine plunging into the hypogeum.
What?
That whole area is so nuts,
217.
That's a lot of work.
How do they have those facts?
Colosseum was really cool. I learned more about it. I did a Gladiator training program with my son. They have it was a little place you went, and I learned so much about the Colosseum doing that, more than the tour. The tour was boring as shit. I went in August. It was 110 degrees out. It was insane.
He's aggressively trying to make his son straight.
But that was a cool experience.
Dude, it's fucking cool as shit, man.
They didn't kill each other, the gladiators. That's all
it's
lore.
Lies?
That's
they
all
didn't?
lies. It was none of that, because it was pro wrestlers. If your gladiator killed another gladiator, the guy who owned that gladiator would have to pay the other guy who owned that gladiator. They were all slaves. So it was all just show. It was like pro wrestling. They would cut each other, but they had big fat bellies, so they wouldn't cut each other's organs. They knew how to do it in a certain way. It was all show.
Really?
It did happen once in a while, but that was more rare when you see an actual death.
So occasionally they would fight for real to the death.
I'm sure occasionally they did.
Where did you get all this information?
From my gladiator training program.
Really?
Yeah.
The guy's certified. I mean, what are you gonna do? Argue the guy's
But the different weapons and the costumes they would wear and the type of armor they would wear is there was whatever a couple dozen different types of guys, and you'd be oh, that's the guy with the fucking mace and a certain helmet, and it was it was free as well. All the people in Rome, there wasn't a ticket price. The government would sponsor it, so it was just to get people keep them happy. And fucking the richer you were, the closer you were. All the peasants would be up in the rafters.
Right.
But
so the movie Gladiator's bullshit? Is that what you're trying to tell me?
Yeah, a lot of it's bullshit. There was no thumbs down, thumbs up.
What? common misconception that gladiators always fought to the death. The winner survived and the loser died. Very rarely, and usually with special dispensation from the emperor, would there be sign miso battles, which automatically meant death for the loser, with no chance of being spared. So occasionally they died.
Yeah.
Very rarely they died.
But they were like celebrities. Like the gladiators would come out and they were like,
wow. Some historians say, oh, wait a minute, 1 in 5 died in battle. That's a lot. Others say 1 in 10. Most only lived to their mid-20s, which compared to today's
well,
average,
they would die of their injuries very often. It wasn't like it was fight to the death. They just didn't have medicine.
Stabbed.
Like, yeah, they would get stabbed and get infected.
infection.
But Gladiator 2 was right, though, right?
But that, I mean, when he's talking about the water, they would fill it up with water and have boat fights. That was a real thing in Gladiator 2.
Oh, I see. Now I'm bummed out. I thought they really fought to the death.
Like every time?
Yeah.
Yeah.
God damn, dude. Well, I've got bad news about the WWF also. Oh, my God. Then, you know what? I might as well pull the Band-Aid off if we're already here. Wrestling also.
But it was like akin to pro wrestling. Like they would have like personalities and people would like, you know.
That was a problem in Japan in the early days of MMA. Some of the fights were fixed.
Yeah.
You could tell. You could tell like certain guys would win by leg lock.
Well,
That's
have,
where
like,
you can stomp and shit,
they'd have
too,
professional
right? They could do
wrestler,
everything. Yeah.
like promoters do those MMA fights.
What does it say,
This is
Jeremy?
describing the animal hunts they did, but I'll skip ahead to this part here.
Hypogeum played a vital role in these staged hunts, allowing animals and hunters to enter the arena countless ways. Eyewitnesses describe how animals appeared suddenly from below as if by magic, sometimes apparently launched high into the air. The hypogeum allowed the organizers of the game to create surprises and build suspense. A hunter in the arena wouldn't know where the next lion would appear, or whether 2 or 3 lions might emerge instead of 1.
Yeah, out of those like
Holy
trap doors
shit.
in the bottom, a lion would just jump out and you're watching a dude like hunt lions. How cool is that though?
This uncertainty could be exploited for comic effect.
He goes, guys, I'm not afraid of no bullshit-ass lion. I fuck a lion. He's right behind me, isn't he?
Emperor Galenius punished a merchant who had swindled the empress, selling her glass jewels instead of authentic ones, by setting him in the arena to face a ferocious lion. When the cage opened, however, a chicken walked out to the delight of the crowd. Galenius then told the herald to proclaim he practiced deceit and then had it practiced on him. The emperor let the jeweler go home. Whoa. So they let people, so it wasn't that
Killed
mean.
him days later.
They were less mean than we thought.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was still pretty brutal.
Well, it was a fucking brutal time to be alive back then, man.
Dude, 1 in 5 got to live. Relax.
1 in
numbers
10,
rule.
maybe 1 in 10.
Maybe even 1 in 10. No
Yeah.
big whoop.
I bet a lot of dudes were sliced up, though. You ever see those Nazi dueling scars where the Nazis like when they were in like military school, they would have duels with sword fights and their faces would get slashed up, and that was like their badge of courage. So all the Nazis that came over for NASA, they all had these like crazy Nazi dueling scars.
All over their faces.
Yeah, you ever see those?
Mm-mm.
Bro, it's so creepy.
They do the shit we do now in arenas too, with like t-shirt guns.
Ah!
Snacks fell from the sky.
Snacks as
Wooden-
abundantly as hail, one observer noted, along with wooden balls containing tokens for prizes, food, money, or even the title to an apartment, which sometimes set off violent scuffles among spectators struggling
Nothing
to grab
changes
them.
today.
Nothing.
There used to be a blimp that would go around the Sixers stadium and drop coupons for Hers potato chips, and I've seen people fall off of balconies for them.
It was as hot as a boiler room in the summer, humid and cold in the winter, and filled all year round with strong smells from the smoke, sweating workmen packed in the narrow corridors, and the reek of the wild animals.
And no bathrooms and all that.
Did people just shit into holes?
Well, they always did. You know, where would you go if you're hot and you're drunk?
And everybody's got the plague.